Hi guys, this is the last part of the geometry trick review, which is parts of a sphere. We're going to talk about both volume and surface area for spheres. So a sphere is obviously just like a ball. So a sphere is a solid, which is each point is equidistant from the center point. So we're going to start by labeling some of the parts. So first of all, kind of like a circle, so distance from the center to the edge is the radius. And then so this line right here, which is all the way across, would be called the diameter. All right, and then so we call the distance all the way around, we call that the great circle. And then the point in the middle is called the center. All right, so let's just apply some formulas here. So number one asks us to find the volume of the sphere. So here's our formula for the volume, and really it's just recognizing, are you given a diameter or a radius, and then just plugging it in. So this one right here, we're given the radius, so we're going to plug it into our formula 4/3 pi r cubed. So 4/3 pi 7 cubed. Okay, and I'm just going to leave, actually it's probably easier to just type this all in your calculator at once. Make sure that when you type the 4/3 in your calculator that you put it in parentheses. Because there's so many fractions, it's probably harder if you leave the pi at the end for these. So 4/3 pi 7 cubed, and I get 1436.76 inches cubed. Okay, number 3 says find the surface area. So again, I'm given here the radius, but this time I'm finding the surface area, so I'm going to use 4 pi r squared. So 4 pi 2.8 squared. All right, so again, just type that all in your calculator, and you get 98.52 meters squared. Now notice on this one I said squared because we're talking about surface area, we're not talking about volume. So surface area is going to be if I were to wrap the ball in wrapping paper or something like that. Volume is the space contained within the inside. So surface area, emphasis on area, is going to be squared, and you can also see that in your exponent there. All right, now it says find the volume of each hemisphere. Okay, hemisphere. So 2/3 pi r cubed. So again, still just plugging it in. So 2/3 pi 5 cubed. So then when you type that in your calculator, you get 261.8 kilometers cubed. All right. And then number 7, find the surface area of each hemisphere below. Now looking at the formula, you might be like, well, hemisphere is half, so why is it not 2 pi r squared? Well, that's because we also have to take into account this circle on the top. So it would be 2 pi r squared, except for the fact that we also have a circle on the top, which is another pi r squared. So it'd be 2 pi r squared plus 1 pi r squared gives me a total of 3 pi r squared. Okay? So 3 pi 14 squared. And when you type that in your calculator, you get 1847.26 yards squared. All right, a couple applications. Find the volume of a sphere with a great circle area of 201.06. So great circle just means pi r squared. The area equals 201.06. So this goes back to when we talked about area and circumference. If you're given the area, set it equal to the area formula. Divide by pi. Okay, so when you divide by pi, you get r squared equals 64. Take the square root, and r equals 8. So now I have the radius of my sphere, so then I can plug that into the volume formula. So I'm going to use a different color here. 4/3 pi 8 cubed. So I can go ahead and plug that into my volume formula, and I get 2,144.66 inches cubed. Okay. All right, Last one. The Henleys have a silo on their farm to store grain. Assuming the entire space is used, what's the maximum amount of grain the silo can hold? So when we're talking about how much it can hold, we're talking about volume here. So I'm going to have to find the volume of the cylinder and the volume of the hemisphere and add them together. So let's find the cylinder first. So I have a height of 45 feet, but notice that this 45 feet goes from the bottom of the cylinder all the way up to the top. So if the diameter is 22, that means the radius is 11. So that means this part is also going to be 11 from the bottom of the hemisphere to the top. So that means how can I find from here down to the bottom is going to be 45 minus 11. That gives me 34. So that means from here to here is also going to be 11. The radius is 11. So that means the hemisphere, the height of the hemisphere, you can think about it as, is also going to be 11. All right, so in order to find the the volume of a cylinder, it's going to be the area of the base times the height. Now, your base here is a circle, so pi 11 squared times the height of 34. Okay, when you type that in your calculator, you get 12,924.51. That is your cylinder. Okay, next let's do the hemisphere. So that's 2/3 pi 11 cubed. When you type that in your calculator, you get 2,787.64. All right, now that's not my final answer because that is my hemisphere. So then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add them together, and then I get 15,712.15 feet. Are we talking about? Yeah, feet cubed. So that one is a little bit more involved, a little bit more critical thinking going on, but that's how you would find the total volume of that silo, okay? And that's kind of the basics of spheres, surface area, and volume, and kind of an review of geometry and trigonometry. That's all.